Hello, sixth grade. Today we're dealing with rate problems with proportions. And we have to get to the unit rate before we can do any of this stuff. I'll show you what I mean by this. First of all, we have a science museum requires 3 adult chaperones for every 15 students on a field trip. How many adult chaperones we need for a group of 125 students? So we got to try and figure this out. So we have to find out what this missing number is right in this area right here, okay? Erase that so we're not too confused. But if we set it up as a fraction, this is how it would look. It would be 3 over 15. We have 125 students. We're trying to find out what A is, okay? But if I were to break this down into simpler terms, we simply have to reduce 3/15. If we reduce this down to 1/5, so we divide by 3, we get 1. Divide by 3, we get 5, okay? If we rewrote this to be 1/5 into 125, what is this number right here? Then we'll be able to solve it because 5 times 25 is 125. So 1 times 25 is 25. So your answer right here is going to be, so how many students? Oh, this would have to be a 125 too. I apologize. A group of 125 students would need how many chaperones? He would need 25 adult chaperones. Okay? So you have to take a look at this first ratio and see if you can reduce it. As soon as you reduce it, you find out what the unit rate is, then you'll be able to solve it. Let's take a look at this next one. We have Crust and Crunch Deli sells 30 salads for every 48 sandwiches. At this rate, how many salads will they sell for every 64 sandwiches? Okay, so how we're going to set this up, we're going to put a 64 here. If we write this out, we'll have 30 over 48, W over 64. Okay, we can reduce 30 over 48 to make an easier unit. Let's divide this by 6, divide this by 6, and we have 5 over 8. Now, if I rewrite this problem out to be 5 over 8 equals over 64, what goes over 64? Well, 8 times 8 is 64. 5 times 8 is 40. So for every 64 sandwiches, we need 40 salads, just like that. Moving on to the next problem. Okay. Tiny's car averages 240 miles for each 10 gallons of gas. How many gallons of gasoline will the car need to travel? 216 miles. Well, 216 is going to go up here. This will be G because we're trying to find out how many gallons that's going to be, okay? So when we write this problem out, it's going to look just like this. 240 over 10 equals 216 over G. This is a G, not a 6, I apologize, kids, okay? We're going to reduce 240 over 10. We're going to break this down to be 24 over 1, okay? So if I write this as 24 over 1 equals 216, apologize, I'm sorry, it's kind of messy, 216 over G. What's G? Well, how many 24s can go into 216? 216 divided by 24 equals 9 times 9 times 9. That means G equals 9. Moving on. Next problem. There are 60.96 centimeters in 2 feet. How many centimeters are in 1 yard? Let's take a look here, okay? There are blank centimeters in 1 yard. So we know there's 3 feet in a yard, so we have to find out what letters we put up there. Let's put the letter C for centimeters, okay? We write this out at 60.96 over 2, C over 3. What is that going to equal? Well, I'll tell you what. Let's find out what the unit rate is for 1. In order to find out what 1 is, we're going to do 60.96 divided by 2. That will tell us what the unit rate is for 1 foot. If 1 foot is, so we go 60.96 divided by 2, that equals 30.48. 30.48 is equal to 1 foot. A yard is 3 feet. So we're going to take 30.48 times 3. We're going to get 91.44 centimeters. That's how many centimeters are in a yard. Moving on. Let's do a couple practice problems here. Okay. Now we're going to be doing some division here. We're going to try and figure out some division. So just watch really closely on this. So we're going to round these so we can do it very quickly and easily. I'm going to keep this short. So this one right here, we're going to round this to 36,000 divided by 60 is going to give me 600 for an answer. So when I'm setting this problem up, my answer has to be very close to 600. Next problem. 7,648 divided by 84. I'm going to round it to 7,000 divided by 70. So my answer should be right around 100. So when I'm setting this up at 7,648 divided by 84 should be very close to 100 for an answer. This one I'm going to go 80 divided by 2. It's about 40. When I set this problem up, my answer will be very close to 40. I'm going to show you a little trick with this one though. Okay, I've shown you this before. I'm going to show you it again. When you're dividing here, when you have a dividing a decimal by a decimal, you're going to move this decimal to this spot right here. So you're going to move this decimal to right here. So then you're simply dividing 25 into 865, as long as the decimal's there, and then it will work. Just keep in mind, as long as you move this decimal over, you have to move this decimal over. Then you'll be able to divide. Hopefully this helped you a little bit with finding the rates of a problem using your proportions. And please keep in mind when you're doing this to find out what the one rate is, the unit rate. And once we find out what the unit rate, like here, 1 foot, this is your unit rate. Your other unit rate was 24. The other unit rate here was 5/8, and the other unit rate was 1/5. As soon as you find out what that, then you'll be able to solve the problem. Good luck, and I look forward to working with you in math today.